Welcome to my first audio tutorial. Basically, the reason for this video is that I was finding it personally really difficult to find like a how-to get pop punk tone sound, like overall production that was like comprehensive, easy to do, and also basically all free. So I basically stripped down like a part of a mix of something that I did, to have the most basic shit on it and have it sound big and have it sound dope. So that's kind of what I want to run through today on Ableton. I'm running Ableton 10 standard, and yeah, I got about 15 tracks on this basically. I want to start with the bass guitar. Basically, also a preface to this is that all the instruments that I'm using are VSTs. Some of them are free, others you have to pay for. We're going to look at the bass guitar right now. This is what it sounds like soloed. Oh shit. Okay, just gotta go up. And you get it with Contact. You can download Contact, and then you can download this bass that I found that was really cool. It's kind of like, I would say like, I don't know, metalcore-y, but just go and click this one. It's basically the preset. It sounds something like this. So it's like kind of distorted. They have different options. There's like a clean sound, but for this general mix, I found that this bass suited my needs. Basically, like the processing on this, as you saw, it's just a VST. You can go. It's a demo VST, so you can just like, it times out after 10 minutes, but you can just render something out, put it back in. You don't have to pay the $50 or whatever. I don't do that. Basically, there's two other things that I have on this channel. One is a BOD made by TSE Audio, and it's basically like a Sans amp. If you don't know what a Sans amp is, shit, I don't even really know what it is, but it makes your bass tone sound fucking cool. Like this is without it. And that's with it. As you can tell, you're getting like some distortion and shit. And basically the only other processing that I have other than the BOD, whereas you can see that I just have basically the drive cranked, highs up, and the blend to like the 3/4 mark. The only thing else I have on this channel is fucking this OTT compressor. Now I don't know if a lot of producers who do like, I don't know, regular music, like I did like EDM shit before. I was in like punk bands back in the day, but then I did the EDM shit and I found this OTT. It's in Ableton, but you can also get it on Splice. Link's gonna be in the description. It makes your shit sound dope. Just as it is mostly. In this case, I just put the depth up to like 100. Killed like the lows pretty much, because you'll see in this mix the bass doesn't need to be crazy big. I have other layers going on. But yeah, basically with this OTT compressor, and I put this on like basically every fucking track I have, it makes it sound just more exciting. I don't really know what it does, or like how it works, but it makes it sound fucking cool. So as you can tell, that's without, that's with. Just kind of gives it like, I don't know, this kind of, it sounds excited. Like it's a compressor obviously, and that's like what it's supposed to make sounds do, is make them sound cool. Again, I'm not a fucking audio engineer, but this is just like shit that I picked up. Basically the next thing I have is the drums. We'll search in the drums. Basically I got like 4 channels. This one channel specifically, just a tambourine. As you can see, I just did like a low pass filter. The thing with EQ I find is like, you see where like the action is, you want to bring the stuff like mostly to there, or like mimic the EQ curve to like what it is. And there are a few basic principles, like with fucking guitars, you can You just have to do like a low cut and like boost the highs a bit. And it's just like fitting your sounds in with each other and for it to, eventually or hopefully sound cool. Those I just found on Splice. These next three with my kick, snare, and hi-hat / cymbals I have in 3 separate tracks. Just gives you like more playroom to manipulate. And I used to be like, I'll put all my drums in one track, but honestly when it comes to mastering and all that stuff after, I can do like tutorials on that later. You're gonna want to separate your drums for sure. It might be difficult, it might take time, but honestly it's way better to not be lazy and to do that, because it's gonna help your mix out big time. So these drums that I'm gonna play right now in the drum bus, as is right now, I'm using this VST called Majolner drums, and I think it's about like $50 or whatever, and these drums honestly sound fucking great. I have like the stock preset on them, and I'm running them through like the OTT and like a simple EQ and a compressor, and each one, the cymbals, snare, and kick, honestly they just like kind of have the general vibe of like the EQ curve. It's just like with the hi-hats you want to like focus in on the highs, the snare like you want to like have it like go in the mids, like duck a little bit here. If you want a little punch, like fucking put it out there. And kick drum, that was straight up what the snare was too. Like I don't know if that's right or wrong, and I did all the same compression settings for this OTT and this like loud Neelis I guess, or whatever it says, to all of these, and this is what the drums sound like. And it's basically you just have to draw them in like you would MIDI notes, but they're different hits of the drum. And for me personally, like I'm musically inclined as far as playing stuff, but I'm not that tight, so I love to draw my sounds in, and it's great. It works for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's totally cool. These are just like the principles. So this is what the drum bus sounds like with all the processing on it up to this point. See, like it sounds pretty full. So yeah, like I'm really doing minimal amounts of processing to like the sounds themselves. I'll show you kind of with like the kick drum and stuff, the differences. Like taking the OTT out, you can tell the difference that OTT compressor makes. Isn't that incredible? And that's just like, that's like the default setting with like a little bit more depth and a little bit more gain. Didn't mess with the lows, mids, or highs or anything like that. And the same goes for like the snare, That snare, just the OTT gives the snare so much pop. Like I'm pretty sure I could take all these other things out and just put the OTT on and mess with it and get it all good, but anyways, I digress. Basically, so yeah, you have a pretty dope sounding drum bus, and honestly, if you just get the OTT and throw those on each, and then just remember to like do like a low cut on the cymbals, and like make your snare and kick drum like duck down in like 1K and like give it a bit of a height in like this area, you'll be great. Next thing we're going to move on to is guitars. Basically, this is like the bread and butter of the tone. I'm using a VST to create my clean guitar sound that I'm running through preamps. All these preamps are free. The VST guitar, however, is not. I think it's like $100 or $150. I'll put the link in the description. But if you listen to like the clean DI, that's what it sounds like. And that's I just have it panned to one side because I did like a hard pan left and hard pan right. But if you hear the amp that I used, and it's literally this one called Amped Roots. The preset is High Noon, and all this is like just default settings. Hit that, and just do a EQ. Sounds pretty badass. And pretty much for the other one, the left side is same stuff. I did the exact same like EQ curve on both sides, whatever. So it's not super technical. You could get more crazy with it, but I'd rather just, find something that works, stick with it, so you can like input it into new tracks, start working on new stuff, and you don't gotta like mess with the tone. Because as you see, like this kind of EQ pass, or I could probably like boost it up to here, and it would still sound pretty cool. But I like taking that high out a little bit. The thing that I learned is like the bass guitar has its role to play, right? So you don't want to like try to make your guitar super, super crazy loud. You want it to fit within that range of between like where this like 1 and the 7 thing is. Yeah. I also had another guitar track that was just the same thing, the Odin, VST, and the amped. This one I just cranked the gain up and the presence up. I think I added like a reverb. That was a stock reverb, whatever. And I just threw in kind of like a pop punk kind of like riff, sort of, as you can hear. Nothing too crazy, but when it all comes together, it's actually pretty cool. And now, so with those things I have so far, with the tone of the guitar, I'll let you see what it sounds like, what I have so far. This just sounds like this. So yeah, it's sounding pretty cool. And now what I found out, like the best thing to make it sound even bigger is you could record other guitars over it and maybe record a more bassier like electric guitar, but I don't have guitars, so I went to Splice. I found samples of guitars, as you can see in these two tracks right here, and I just pitched them. As you can see, this one's like -7, -5, and I pitched them to be the same as what the chord progression of these two tracks were supposed to be. So what we have, and they sound bizarre, like soloed, and I'll show you why, because this is what they sound like soloed. They're like, oh. And the other one's like, but it's just like the power of samples and sampling, especially if you don't have like the right guitars or like the like knowledge of how to get the craziest sounds. These are simple ways to make it sound dope. And you're probably like, well, shit, it's been 15 minutes. You want to hear what this all sounds like together? I'll let you hear what all the guitars sound like together. So this is all the layers plus the VSTs. Sounds something like this. Shit. There we go. for our finale, you'll hear what it all sounds like. And just FYI, on my master chain, there's just this audio effect rack so I can do this tutorial. And this Black Cat Audio EQ3, basically I just upped the lows and turned down the highs a bit and up the mids. For some reason, the OTT compressor tends to lean towards more trebly sounds, and I think it's because like the liveness of like the sound that it like creates. But I just offset it with that EQ, and this is what the final thing sounds like. And for all free plugins, minus like the guitar and the drum VSTs, I think this sounds pretty fucking cool. You guys let me know what you think. So yeah, that's the demo. How to get like a pop punk sound or whatever it is, alternative metalcore, easycore. I don't know. I like my pop punk guitar sounds to have a lot of depth to them, and I found that was a way that I figured it out. I always wanted to know like how people got like really big sounds. A lot of like mixes were sounding thin or whatever. And honestly, the takeaways is that OTT compressor can do a lot of amazing stuff to your drums and to your guitars. So like a lot of stuff, you even put on vocals, whatever you want, and it's fully, you can dial in the EQ on it also. And stack your guitars. And as you can see, just you want to like, if one guitar has like a different EQ curve, just tuck it in so it all can harmonize together. So hope you learned something. It's my first try, so if you enjoy it, hit the link, subscribe. Good times, man.